Hello everyone, and welcome to this tutorial in TikZ on graphs and automata. 3 years ago or something I made a TikZ video about trees and basic TikZ, and it got quite a few views, so I'm going to try to make another one and see if that's popular and maybe someone will need this information. So I will not explain what TikZ is. If you want to know more about TikZ, please check out my last video. But today I'm going to talk about how to draw graphs and how to use the TikZ library automata. Yes, let's get started. So I'm going to start with a TikZ picture environment. And the first thing I'm going to do is describe a node, which is the first node of our graph. And typically a node is inside a circle. And I'm going to give it a name. It can be anything, but I'm going to call it vertex 1. V1 for vertex 1. And we have to place it somewhere, and I'm starting with the coordinates 0, 0. And then I'm going to give it a label, which is 1. So if I compile this, we can see that we have a basic node with the content 1. The circle didn't show because I have to draw black to get a black stroke for my circle. I'm going to zoom in a little bit. Oh, that's wrong zoom. Okay, there you go. Yes, and to create some edges we need some more nodes, so I'm going to draw another node as well called V2 and place it somewhat down the x-axis, so probably 3 on the x-axis and 0 on the y-axis, and give it the label 2. Then we have 2 nodes in our graph. And to connect them, I will use the command draw. And since we have named our nodes, we can use the names. And the syntax for a line is dash dash to V2. So here I will draw a single line from V1 to V2. So here I have a very simple undirected graph. To make it directed, I can write this syntax for an arrow to the draw options, compile that, and we'll have a little arrow between our nodes. So that's a very simple directed graph. If I don't want to write circle draw black for every node in my graph, I can create a TikZ style inside my TikZ picture, and I can give it a name. It can be anything, but in this case it's a vertex, and I will set that to be circle draw black. And then I can use that name to describe this node. So if I want to update the style again, I don't need to specify that for every single node in the graph. I can just specify it for the TikZ style that I have defined here. The same can be done for edges. So if I have an edge here, let's specify that as an arrow. So we're creating directed graphs, and maybe the edge is going to be somewhat thick. Very thick. And then I have to use the name inside the options for the draw command. Like this. You can create as many TikZ styles that you want inside the TikZ picture, but please be aware that the TikZ styles you define for a TikZ picture is only available for this TikZ picture, not for everyone else. So if you want to create styles for your whole document and several TikZ pictures, you have to define a TikZ set. I explained that in my previous videos about trees. So let's call this a selected vertex. You can use white spaces in your names. And it's going to inherit everything that is in vertex. So you have inheritance here. And we're going to fill that with a red color. So let's say that our V2 is a selected vertex. Then we create this red node over here. Okay, so that's a very simple graph. You can extend your graph by creating more nodes. But I don't think I will define many nodes for this graph, just to show you that you can place more nodes in your graph if you like to, and draw another edge to that one, V1 to V3. And maybe you would like another edge from V2 to V3. Okay, I think that's it for the graphs. And then I'm going to show you how to create a automata. So I want to show you 3 different kinds of automata. So I'm going to start with a new TikZ picture. And here I'm going to give some options to the TikZ picture itself. So here I will say for every edge in my automata it's going to be directed. So I write this arrow symbol. And I will have a node distance of maybe 3 centimeters. The default unit in a TikZ coordinate system is centimeters, but for some pictures you have to specify it. But when you're drawing edges from one point to another, you don't have to specify it, or for placing nodes. So this 3 means 3 centimeters. But in this case we have to specify it for the node distance option. So an automata, for those who know, is some kind of a state machine. And we're going to start off with an initial state. So this is options that is known through the automata library. So they have some pre-programmed layouts. So the initial state, we give it a name, it's A, and we give it a label. So this is labeled Q1, and it will look like this. I'm going to put some space in between so it doesn't overlap that much. Okay. And another state, which is just a regular state, give it a name B. And here you can put options where to place B according to where A is placed. So I'm going to say right of A and give that a label Q2. As for the graph we made here, we have to end every line with a semicolon. And another state, let's make that accepting. Accepting is also a predefined option for states. And this one is going to be placed right of B and give it a label Q3. So there we have our three states. We have the initial one, Q1, and a ordinary state, Q2, and accepting one, Q3. And for those who know a little bit about automata, the accepting states is drawn with a double circle. And then let's add some edges to this automata. For adding edges, we're using the command called path. And I'm going to draw a path from A, and that's going to be an edge that loops above with a node B. Node B is syntax for labeling this edge. And it's going to loop over itself. Okay, it's not loops, it's loop, I'm sorry. So here we have our first edge. It's looping over itself with the label B. And here you don't have to put a semicolon behind every line right, because you need just to end the path command. So let's make another edge with the node label A to B. The auto option will put the label above the edge instead of on the edge, as we had without this option. So auto for putting the label above the edge. Okay, and let's make some edges for B. Going to make a loop above B as well with the node B. And then a edge node, just a straight line from B to the accepting one, C. And for C, we only will have one edge which loops above with the node B, and it's looping over itself, C. This is a very simple automata, and we see that we have some options that are pre-programmed for this library, which is initial state that gets this start and an arrow, and the ordinary state, and when accepting state with this double circle. And for edges, we use the path command and use our names specified in the nodes, and define some edges and where to place them with some node label and what node we're pointing to. Let's make a couple more automatas. So here I'm going to draw a Turing machine. So don't worry about it if you don't know what a Turing machine is. It's just to show you how to draw them. You don't know, and you don't need to know what they mean. So let's remove these things, and we're going to start with a ordinary state, not a starting state, or we can make it an initial state. Since we're in a new TikZ picture here, we can use the names again. and a label Q1. And I'm going to copy that and remove the initial option to Q2, and another name for this one would be B. And then let's create a path. A will have an edge that is looping above itself with the node 1, A. Oh, we forgot to place the node B. So here it will draw itself over the first one. So we have to specify that B is right of A, if that is the placement we want for it. That looks better. And A is also going to have an edge that bends right. I hope this is the correct syntax. We will see in a minute. With a node that is H, to B. I want it on the other side, like that. And then we will have a edge that bends right with a node H. This is going from B, not from A. Right, arrow to the left, to A from B, an edge that bends left, I presume, with a node with this content back to A. And at last we have an edge that loop above itself from B with content 1. Don't need another math mode. Arrow to right, B. And here we have a really simple Turing machine that is visualized. And you can use the automata library to create these pictures. Okay. And to show you a probably more complex automata, I'm going to draw for you a busy beaver. You don't know, you don't need to know what a busy beaver is either, but I'm going to show you how to draw a more complex automata. So I'm going to copy this Turing machine and remove the content of the text picture environment. And I'm going to start off with the initial state A with no content, and an ordinary state B, which is right of A, also with no content, and a node ordinary state C, which is below of A, like that, and a node ordinary state D, which is below of B, and at last a node state E, which is right of D, like that. Okay, let's specify the path. Okay, so I'm not going to draw labels on these parts because that will take a lot of time, but I'll just draw the edges for you. Edge, bend left from A, edge that bends left, to B. So when I don't want to write a label on this edge, I'm skipping the node and some content part. And from A, I'm going also to write a edge to B, which is a straight line. And from B, I have a bend left edge to back to A. And from B, I also have a straight line down to D. Yes. And from C, this one, I have an edge straight line to A, and I also have an edge loop below itself. And from D, I have an edge to C, and from D, I have an edge to E. So here's the outline for a busy beaver, and it was just to show you how to place nodes not only in a straight line but also below other nodes, and how to loop below. And you can also bend right for this one. Yes. So that's it for the graphs and the automata. Please leave any questions if you have some. Yes, and maybe I will make some more videos in the future. Thank you for watching.